Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 12 through 14 and 19. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto you are also called, and has professed a good profession before many witnesses. I give you charge in the sight of Elohim, who quickeneth all things, and before the Mashiach Yahshua, that you keep this commandment without spot, unrebukable, until the appearing of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, Hold On.
Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. And everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Hold on. Hold on. Just a little while. Hold on. Hold on. Just a little while. Hold on. Hold on. Just a little while longer. And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Hold on. 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 And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Keep walking. Walk on. And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Pray on. Pray on. Pray on. Like Daniel prayed. Pray on. Pray on. Pray on. And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Sing on. Sing on. Oh, sing on. Just a little while longer. And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. And everything will be alright. And everything will be alright. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. And everything
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yahshua. One of the things that we read all the time in the oracles, I've sent an angel to lead you in the way. That angel's job is to keep you on the path. Here's the problem. You don't know the path. So as the angel is trying to direct you on the path, we have a tendency to not want to do things that we haven't already done. We like to travel paths that somebody else has cleared out. Well, if somebody else has cleared that path out, that means they got hit with the briars, they got stuck with the thorns, they got hit with all of the bushes that snap back. And then we just want to go through that path when, and it's really clear when somebody else make it. I mean, you just walk along that path that don't have grass on it. Real easy after somebody else cleared out. But that's just not how Yahweh deals with his people, especially the he-goats that go before the flock. The grass don't stop growing unto a place until all the flock done walked on it. So we have to, at some point decide what kind of servants we're going to be. Are we going to be the we'll walk as long as somebody else clear the path servants? Or send me, Yahweh, I'll go. At some point we have to ask that question. Just sitting here, when my elder passed away, I got assaulted by brothers on the Sabbath day about some things that were being taught wrong. Several years later, those same individuals left the same person So, should I have waited another 5, 6 years until everybody else caught up that teaching wasn't right? Because see, then I would have had somebody to stand by my side. Or did Yahweh want me to clear out a path and go, no, go through them bushes? But Yahweh ain't no path, then, and there's thorns in there. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm sending you. I could have easily just waited a couple of years. I had people, when I started at the house, showed up at my house to tell me how I should stop teaching and go and be under another man. Later on, they also left that man too. Now, what if I'd have listened to that? And then when all of those individuals come at you wrong, not one of them come. And they know that once they had to leave the situation, that it was wrong. Not one of them come and say, you know what? My bad, bro. You saw this 12 years before us. Now, everything that I did 12 years ago, they started yesterday. So at some point, we have to ask ourselves a question. What kind of servant do you want to be? Because if you're looking for the path to already be cleared out, I can give you some addresses. I know where those people at. When that angel, his job is to keep you, that means that angel might show you or direct you into something that you ain't never done before. What you gonna tell the angel? Well, I don't know about that. I ain't never done that. Yeah, you ain't never been this way. Of course you ain't never done it. See, we have to consider something when we want a job. Do you wait until you get the job and then start figuring out how to do the job? Have you considered how long? A lot of us like to spend all this time watching sports. Have you considered how long they played for free before they got paid? Everybody like to talk about the salaries. This person getting $20 million a year. Do you ever back up and see how long they did it for free, though? I mean, I'm talking little league. I'm talking middle school. I'm talking high school. Then we talking about college. And some of them, when it was off season, they went and played again. So they wouldn't get rusty. All that was for free. We don't start counting until they publish the salaries. So Yahweh says, you're going to be a kingdom of priests. Oh, you waiting until Yahshua sit on the throne to walk? Good luck on that. Now, in last week's sermon, we discussed how Yohanan the Baptist was the offspring of a priest. Yahweh then used this priest of special birth to baptize Yahshua into the priesthood. Yahshua then gathered 12 disciples to signify that the door to the priesthood was now open unto all of the tribes of Israel. The order thus being set, the tribe of Levi are the priests to Israel. And as the door was open unto the Gentiles, the remaining tribes of Israel are the priests to the Gentiles. Now in the garden, the nakedness of man became sin when higher knowledge of the earth was acquired by them. At that point and going forward, man's flesh had to be covered. Yahweh later called him a people and gave them understanding of the highest. Now we find the coverings ordained for the lower body have now been extended to the head of man. Even in misunderstanding, the children of Israel were covered in a cloud and in a pillar of fire without even understanding what a covering was. Let's begin today's sermon in Numbers chapter 4. Yahweh not waiting on your understanding for him to be holy. He didn't start being holy the day you figured out what holy was. Now he just started holding you accountable the day he made sure that you knew what holy was. That wasn't his first day being holy. That was your first day understanding holiness. Let's not get those two things twisted. Numbers chapter 4, and we're going to read verses 1 through 20.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, Take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi, after their families, by the house of their fathers. From 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation, about the most holy things. And when the camp sets forward, Aaron shall come, and his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil, and cover the ark of testimony with it.
Now, verse 3, from 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, that this will be their service. There is a time, all right? But then as you start going back, you'll find that, wait a minute, they said 20 and 25, these brothers was doing things. Why? So they'd understand what they were supposed to be doing when they got 30. Who you think helping them? They get the younger brothers, all right. I guarantee you that 50-year-old ain't the one who carried that big log from the front to the back. I can guarantee you that. He knew where it went. He knew where it was. He knew where it needed to go. But he wasn't going to be the one to carry it. I can tell you that. No, you get one of them 20-year-olds that's got muscles. And they got them kind of muscles that when they get hurt, they heal like tomorrow. No. You get one of them to pick that up. See, so there's order in this. And you can't let somebody who shows up, now understand, this from 30 to 50. Now you might have been laboring the whole time from 30 to 50. Now somebody else show up when they 50 and they got a problem with you sitting. I'm just you 20 years too late. I don't know what to tell you. I can show you pictures of me carrying that log, but I'm not picking that log up. I got 20 years that carrying the log. I'm not picking that log up. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and shall put thereon the covering of badger skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof.
All right, so he shall put thereon the covering of badger skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue. All holy things are covered. Pay attention. Go ahead.
And upon the table of the showbread they shall spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes, and the spoons, and the bowls, and covers to cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with a covering of badger skins, and shall put in the staves thereof.
All right, so then if you notice, you're going to not only hear a covering, but oftentimes too. There's a covering for the covering. And then you start hearing these colors. You know, we didn't just like find some stuff on sale at Party City and decided that we were going to put these colors back in. So pay attention as you read. Go ahead.
And they shall take a cloth of blue and cover the candlestick of the light and his lamps and the tongs and his snuff dishes and all the oil vessels thereof wherewith they minister unto it. And they shall put it and all the vessels thereof within a covering of badger skins, and shall put it upon a bar. And upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badger skins.
So upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue and cover it with a covering of badger skins. So there's a covering for the covering. We have a problem with a covering. So do you have a problem with the covering of the covering? Go ahead.
And shall put to the staves thereof. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badger skin.
Here we go again. There's a covering for the covering. So when you get down to those people that then don't understand the difference between what Israel has and what was given unto the Gentiles, they think that the hair is the woman's covering, so she good. Holy things got two coverings. How's her hair just her covering? That's her one layer. What the next layer? See, our problem is we want to take a few letters out of holy. I ain't going to tell you which one. Go ahead and read, brother. Go ahead and read, brother. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Come on now. Hurry up.
And shall put them on a bar.
There you go. Thank you,
And they
brother.
shall take away the ashes from the altar and spread a purple cloth thereon. And they shall put upon it all the vessels thereof, where they minister about it, even the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skins, and put to the staves of it. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is to set forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it.
Hold on. You know, I remember getting some questions, right? And they said, when should somebody, be covered? I mean, surely, we shouldn't be covered all the time. It was funny. They put the covering on and they said, before they leave. So as they leaving, all this stuff is covered as it's moving. It's rather interesting because some people say, well, I just want to, cover when I go to church. Well, how you got to work? As this moves, all the covering is done before it moves. Once it moves, everything is covered. So then, don't we supposed to, check in the mirror? All right, let's see, is everything covered? All right, now it's time for me to proceed and move. And let me tell you something, if you got something that's see-through, that ain't covered. You can't cover yourself with something that's see-through. So I'm covered. No, you ain't. I see giblets. If I see giblation, then that's not covered. You can't cover yourself with that's like having an invisible cloak. I thought only Superman had that. Go ahead.
After that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Now, the other priests can come in, but they better not touch nothing. Now, see, somebody earned that right. See, this is that part where when Yahweh send you to go and clear a path on your own, and you get hit with the briars, you get stuck with the thorns, you got to clear out the path. Let me tell you something. He gonna give you a different level of service than he give them people who just sit around, wait for somebody to die, and then take over their foundation. He know the difference between those who got out, made themselves, inconvenienced themselves to build their own, put their own stuff in jeopardy, versus the people who just sit around and say, soon as he died. Oh, he know the difference. That's why he said them other priests, oh, y'all come in here and carry this. Y'all come in here when they get through. But I tell you what, you better not touch that. They better had done all that stuff. Don't come to me, tell me about you a priest. Let me tell you something. You a priest on that level. Don't come on this level. You ain't been through enough to be on this level. See, they earn this. The very things that we running from, how you think you earn it? Go ahead.
And to the office of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest pertains the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily meat offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the tabernacle, and of all that therein is, in the sanctuary, and in the vessels thereof. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, Cut you not off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but thus do unto them, that they may live and not die. When they approach unto the most holy things, Aaron and his sons shall go in, and appoint them every one of his service and to his burden. But they shall not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they die.
Lest they die. You're going to when it says, behold, I've sent an angel to keep you in the way. You get ready to step, and that angel does something. Don't step right there. But we so bold, we'll argue with the angel. Because we don't see the angel, we don't hear the angel, something happen. You on your way to do something, boom, car won't crank. So now you calling a ride. Hey, can you take me to such and such? Nah, you ain't supposed to go. How many times he gonna have to stop you? Now he got that. Now he go. This how somebody else done got involved. Now they come get you, and he stopped their car too. And they like, I just had this thing tuned up. I don't know what's happening. Right? You done got in Yahweh business. You done got in Yahweh business. And now he about to take care of your business because you done got in his business. Now what you doing over here? Well, he had called me and he said, but see, you in my business now though. You in my business. I stopped him from going. And now you come and now you gonna override what I told him. See, now I got to sit you down and this wasn't even your situation. Let's go to Exodus chapter 25. Exodus chapter 25, and we're going to read verses 10 through 22.
Verse 10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the height thereof. And you shall overlay it with pure gold. Within and without shall you overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. And you shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof. And 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. And you shall make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And you shall put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, and the ark, that the ark may be borne by them. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And you shall put in the ark the testimony which I shall give you. And you shall make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And you shall make 2 cherubims of gold. Of beaten work shall you make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat.
So the staves are to make sure that as it is carried, no one touches this holy item. So you can actually move it without putting your hands on it. That's what the sticks going through, these staves going through the holes are about, so that it can be picked up on each end and moved, and nobody touches it. Remember when Yahweh descended on the mountain, he said, look here, make sure, move your kid, make sure if even an animal touch it, it's got to die. Don't touch this mountain when I come upon it. Go ahead.
And make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end. Even of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings. And their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. And you shall put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And in the ark you shall put the testimony that I shall give you.
All right, so the testimony is in it. The cherubim's wings cover it. Go ahead.
And there I will meet with you, and I'll commune with you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give you in a commandment unto the children of Israel.
All right, so then if we examine that graphic, the one sitting down in the middle, the staves are the sticks whereby it can be moved. The cherubims are the winged creatures on either side. Yahweh's spirit then comes in the middle between those 2 and communes with the children of Israel. So Yahweh has 2 coverings. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 44. Ezekiel chapter 44, and let's read verses 1 through 19.
Then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary, which looks toward the east, and it was shut. Then said Yahweh unto me, this gate shall be shut, it shall not be opened. and no man shall enter in by it, because Yahweh, the El of Israel, has entered in by it, therefore it shall be shut. It is for the prince. The prince, he shall sit in it to eat bread before Yahweh. He shall enter in by the way of the porch of that gate, and shall go out by the way of the same. Then brought he me the way of the north gate before the house. And I looked, and, behold, the glory of Yahweh filled the house of Yahweh, and I fell upon my face. And Yahweh said unto me, Son of man, mark well, and behold with your eyes, and hear with your ears all that I say unto you concerning all the ordinances of the house of Yahweh, and all the laws thereof, and mark well the entering in of the house, with every going forth of the sanctuary. And you shall say to the rebellious, even the house of Israel, Thus says the Adonai, O you house of Israel, let it suffice you of all your abominations, in that you have brought into my sanctuary strangers, uncircumcised in heart and uncircumcised in flesh, to be in my sanctuary, to pollute it, even my house, when you offer my bread, the fat and the blood, and they have broken my covenant because of all your abominations.
They have broken my covenant because of all of your abominations. Because they saw you and figured, you know what? Hey, if they're not doing it. Go ahead.
And you have not kept the charge of mine holy things, but you have set keepers of my charge in my sanctuary for yourselves.
Now, this is where things get interesting. You have set keepers of my charge in my sanctuary for yourselves. In other words, you wanted somebody whom you agreed with. See, the angel, when Yahweh says, beware, I've put an angel to lead you in the way. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression. The angel's job was not to get like your likes. His job was not to like befriend you. His job was to lead you to a place. Now, if he got to slap you about 4 or 5 times to lead you to that place, then go ahead and count on getting slapped. He's not there to be your friend. This is what happened when we want to get the leader, but we want to get leaders of our own liking. All right? Leaders who we might be able to manipulate this way or that way. That's not how Yahweh operates. Go ahead.
Thus says the Adonai, no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the children of Israel. And the Levites that are gone away far from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their lawlessness. Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house, and ministering to the house. They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before me to minister unto them, because they ministered unto them before their idols.
Because you ministered unto them before their idols. Let me tell you something. My elder said he teach priests. I ain't the only priest he taught. Now, it might be some other brothers that I might not have agreed with, or maybe we had some decision, but I can't change the fact that they priests. But it's levels to this priesthood, though. It's levels to this. Don't think that, hey, a priest is a priest is a priest. No, don't get it twisted. It's different from those who had to carry them hard boulders for 20 years and then everybody else just come walk behind and get in that cleared path and think we all the same. No, we ain't the same. And Yahweh showing, no, they ain't the same. Go ahead.
Because they ministered unto them before their idols, and caused the house of Israel to fall into lawlessness. Therefore have I lifted up mine hand against them, says the Adonai, and they shall bear their lawlessness.
You know, one of the things people don't really understand, some of the turmoil that we went through. After our elder died, the next leader came and said that atonement was going to be a feast and not a fast, and made everybody eat. People from other congregations was driving by just to look out to see if everybody would eat. And I mean, he was very aggressive with it. People were scared not to eat. I hate to be a tutor of my own horn, but guess who didn't eat? Right. That's why I'm sitting in this seat. Okay. Right. We ain't all the same. Go ahead, priest.
And they shall not come near unto me to do the office of a priest unto me.
You got to think about some of them people were new when this was put on them. You got to understand how confusing that was to some of these people coming in the door. Go ahead.
Nor to come near to any of my holy things in the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed.
Right.
But
When you agree with that stuff, let me tell you something. He not going to stop them from being a priest, but I tell you what, he going to set them levels. He know who did what. Man, I have brothers who I had pure D love for, helped their families, gave them a job, paid to train them. Brothers I ain't spoke to in over 13 years. Why? Because the next leader, never had an argument with them. But the next leader said, Esaac is not on the friends list. Boom. Brothers wouldn't talk to me, ain't talked to me in 13 years. Never had an argument, nothing. But because that man told you, who eventually they left, by the way. Okay? Eventually they left. There's levels to this thing. And you on your level now. Don't get it twisted. Don't get you won't sit close? Go ahead, sit close. Just understand though. You gonna earn that seat though. You gonna pay for that. Ain't no free concert tickets. If you got free concert tickets, you did something backstage. I'd rather buy my ticket. I'm not going in that room. Read, man.
But I'll make them keepers of the charge of the house, for all the service thereof, and for all that shall be done therein. But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me.
When everybody else went astray.
They shall come near to me.
They shall come near to me. Them other people gonna be in the back. He know who suffered and who did not. Go ahead.
And they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, says the Adonai. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. And it shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments.
I'm talking, what they gonna wear?
Linen garments.
Okay.
And no wool shall come upon them, whilst they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. They shall have linen bonnets upon their heads.
They shall have linen bonnets upon their head. They ain't gonna keep. See, sometimes somebody is actually telling you something without telling you. They say, you know what, no, man, I can't put no head covering on. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not gonna be that close to him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I figured we was all trying to get close to him. Remember, Israel said, you know what, Moshe? Hey, look, don't let him talk to us no more. Don't let him talk. I tell you what, you talk to him, and then you come and tell us what he said. But we can't be near him. Oh, okay. Oh, all right, my bad. I thought we was all trying to go close to Yahweh. That's my mistake. My mistake. Go ahead.
And shall have linen breeches upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. And when they go forth into the outer court, even into the outer court to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers.
All right, so because we done been close to Yahweh with these clothes on, we got to take these clothes off when we go to those regular people. Because see, now they get sanctified by the clothes that we had on because we were close to Yahweh when we had them on. We ain't all the same. There's an easy path and there's a glorious path. You pick whichever one you gonna go. But my elder always told me, let me tell you something. You gotta shoot for the moon. If you miss, at least you'll be among the stars. If you shoot for the stars and you miss, you're gonna wake up in a lake of fire. So be careful what you aim for. Go ahead.
And they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments.
They shall not sanctify the people with their garments. And you know how we get sometimes when we see something else and we realize that we can't rise to that level, then we got to talk to those people to see if they can come down where we at. That's how some operate. Let's go to Exodus chapter 28. Exodus 28, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Verse 1. And take you unto you Aaron your brother, and his sons with him, from among the children of Israel, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty.
Holy garments for glory and for beauty. So some of this we got to touch back on. So as we go down, you're not forgetting, because some of y'all can't remember from one class to the next. All right, we went over some things, but some of this had to happen back to back so it can sink in, because some folk only gonna watch about 5 minutes of this one, so they sure ain't watched the one before. So you need to get that there are holy garments that Yahweh have set aside for glory and for beauty. They have two things. All right. Now keep in mind the tabernacle covering. Children of Israel were covered. Yahweh covered. Now he's talking about the people who comes near to him. To come near to him, they must be covered. See, we went past that opportunity where we could be close to Yahweh and not covered. That was in the garden. We lost that. Man was naked and didn't know what he was. Just naked, just walking around. Same way a child is. Child would play naked time. Run through the whole house naked. Naked time. Just take out running. Soon as that kid has understanding, that kid does not do that anymore. So why do we? The kid got sense. No, you know what? I got. No, man, I had to cover up. How is it the kid can understand that and we confused? But we got all these degrees. We got all these letters behind our name. But now you don't understand the simple stuff that kid understands. Right. Go ahead.
And you shall speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a broidered coat, a mitre,
head
and
covering.
a girdle.
All right, so you got, not only is there a covering, but the way the covering is actually sets the level of this individual. See, people who have been in the service can look at a uniform. No, man, he got rank. Don't run up on him. How you know? A uniform different. You learn. Hey, man, don't run up on. Hey, you run up on that. It'll be the last time you run. Go ahead. Go. You bad. You bad. You bad. I'm telling you. Do you see those stripes? Don't go over there. Don't go over there. You better mumble under your breath. That's rank over there. Go ahead.
And they shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen. And they shall make the ephod of blue, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen, with cunning work. It shall have the 2 shoulder pieces thereof joined at the 2 edges thereof, and so it shall be joined together. And the curious girdle of the ephod which is upon it shall be of the same according to the work thereof, even of blue, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And you shall take 2 onyx stones and grave on them the names of the children of Israel. 6 of their names on 1 stone, and the other 6 names of the rest on the other stone, according to their birth. With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, shall you engrave the 2 stones with the name of the children of Israel. You shall make them to be set in the ouches of gold. And you shall put the 2 stones upon the shoulders of the ephod for the stones of memorial unto the children of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh upon his 2 shoulders for a memorial.
Jump to verse 29.
And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplates of judgment upon his heart, when he goes in onto the holy place for a memorial before Yahweh continually.
Now, when you understand that, you know, he goes before Yahweh and he bears the name of the 12 tribes, understand why Yahshua only needed 12. This was not everybody think that this is Yahweh sending his son to go down and deal with all of mankind. Man, he was setting the priesthood in order for Israel. Folk reading the New Testament don't know what the hell they read. That's why he said don't go to nobody else. After I deal with these priests, then you can go to whoever you want to go to. But not until I deal with these priests. But everybody got the book open to a favorite psalm sitting in the window. Man, get out of here. Go ahead, priest.
And you shall put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goes in before Yahweh. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Yahweh continually. And you shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue, and there shall be an hole in the top of it, in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work round about the whole of it, as it were the whole of a habergeon, that it be not rent. And beneath, upon the hem of it, you shall make pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the hem thereof, and bells of gold between them round about. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, upon the hem of the robe round about. And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goes in onto the holy place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, that he die not. And you shall make a plate of pure gold, engrave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holiness to Yah.
So this is even entitled the Holy Crown. Go ahead.
And you shall put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. And it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the lawlessness of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that he may be accepted before Yahweh.
Okay, when shall it be there?
Always.
So what about when he pray? Oh, okay. Right. Go ahead.
And you shall embroider the coat of fine linen, and you shall make the mitre of fine linen, and you shall make the girdle of needlework.
You know, and you don't understand that until you start getting, material that wrap around. Bro, we would never get nothing done if we got to uncover, pray, put this back on before the class start. We got a 30-minute intermission for everybody to get wrapped back up. But Yahweh deals with you on levels, and when it's time for him to bring you on another level, that's the level you're going to go on. And you're going to move when he tell you to move. Or you might not move again for the next 6 months. You can't wait to see how your friend feel about you moving. You can't wait to see, you know what? What if my spouse don't like me moving up on another level? Hey, did it. You got to move when he has for you to move. Then you have to understand, it's not like he's giving us something like he gave to Abraham. Go to a place which I shall tell you of. Man, you know how hard that is to go home and tell your family, hey, y'all, look, we got to pack up everything. I know we just made that patio. And I know you love that patio. Matter of fact, you gave me the design for the patio. Woman, I know this. But we got to go. So where we going? That way. Hey, that first night had to be a hell of a fight. That first night had to be a hell of a... Even a righteous woman gonna fight you just a little bit. Hey, you got to... She gonna look back at that patio about 3 times. Are you sure? You sure you just didn't eat something before you went to bed and maybe you was feeling funny? Are you sure about this whole thing? That's a lot to take. He ain't giving us nothing like that. We have to be thankful for the little things that he has given us. He ain't asked you to get up on no torture stake and be tortured. The only thing he asked you to sacrifice is your feelings. That's all that's on the altar, is your feelings. Go ahead.
You know, brother, when you look at the New Testament with Cephas denying the Mashiach 3 times, and the Mashiach then asked him, do you love me 3 times, to put him back in order. As we're going through this and you see all the stuff that's placed upon Aaron on his shoulders, up on his forehead, to bear the lawlessness of the children of Israel, you don't hear him murmur or complain.
Right.
Because you the one that led him into sin. Mm-hmm. Now you got to keep continually bearing their lawlessness.
Mm-hmm. Kind of make you see why sometimes it looked like Yahweh didn't do something about something, but he kind of do it later. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's a genius. All right? He know, I could whoop you now, but I'll just whoop you later. So sometimes you think you got away with something, and Yahweh be like, oh, okay. That's why you going to do it. All right? He saw Saul persecuting all them people. He didn't stop him. He ain't stop him. I'm going to stop him, Father. Don't stop. Go ahead. Here go another servant. Why don't you persecute? You ain't persecuted that one yet. Go ahead. But then later on, he get a job where he is constantly persecuted. Now, guess how he earned that job? Yeah. You got to work off what you did down there. Yeah, I already got to look your name in the book. I got you. But you still got to work that off. All right? Don't worry about it. I already got your seat. You good. But guess what, though? In the meantime, bruh, guess what we got to do? It's a hill full of demons down there. Go on down there and fight. Swing first. Hey, he got work to work off. Our problem is we don't remember that we got work to work off. See, there's a way that, we look at ourselves in a certain way that, yeah. There's some things you don't remember. There's some things that you have selected not to remember. Matter of fact, if they even come to your remembrance, you slap yourself. Get that out of there. I don't want to remember that no more. Right. You got to work that out too. So what if Yahweh didn't send him to go and deal with them Gentiles? Saul in big trouble. He needed that persecution to work off the persecution that he had done. Some of the very things that we are bothered by, that's your ticket in. You drop your ticket and you can't figure out why they won't let you in the concert. Because you left your ticket back there. Now turn around. Go back and get your ticket. We ain't going to start the show without you. Don't worry about it. The show going to wait on you. Turn around, go back and get your ticket. Now work your way right back to here. And we're going to start this show when you get back. Oh, he fair. But he not playing. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 40. And for Aaron's sons you shall make coats, And you shall make for them girdles, and bonnets shall you make for them.
Now, the bonnets are also head covering, so now we see the head covering in a different way, and in that different way, there's a difference of authority. The head covering is not the same as his. You now know that there's honor based on how the head wrap is. So, if someone is trying to get you to remove your head covering, what exactly are they really asking you? Go ahead.
For glory and for beauty.
Uh-huh.
And you shall put them upon Aaron your brother, and his sons with him, and shall anoint them, and consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office.
That they may minister unto me in the priest's office. And you have a lot of people say, well, you know what? Well, we're not priests, so we don't have to deal with this. All right. Who were given the law to collect tithes? So if anybody out there collecting tithes, we got a problem. If you say, well, I'm not a priest, I'm a moray, I'm a teacher, I'm a this, put them damn tithes back. Put them back. You don't have the right to get those. Priests get those. You say, oh, I'm a pastor, I'm a shepherd. Yeah, all y'all line up. Put it back. Go ahead.
And you shall make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness. From the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach. And they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come in onto the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near onto the altar to minister in the holy place, that they bear not lawlessness. And
you bear lawlessness if you approach unto Yahweh the wrong way. But we've been told it's all about how we feel. Go ahead.
You know, just to go back to verse 43. And they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons and when they come in onto the tabernacle of the congregation. And isn't that what you just put into effect? When you come into the congregation, you need to be covered from the head to your foot.
Yes. But you know what, man? Stuff is better to us. You know, maybe we should have said it with the speakers on with some reverb. You know what I'm saying? Israel. You. You know, maybe we should have had some effect. Put some thunder in there and some, you know, made the lights flicker. Israel's something else, man. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
That they bear not lawlessness and die. It shall be a statute forever unto him and his seed after him.
Now, that sounds harsh. But Yahshua invited those people to the wedding feast. They found one who came in without a wedding garment. They carried him out. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You come near to Yahweh, you ain't dressed right, you're going to die.
Go ahead and teach.
Right. But we think Yahshua came and brought something different than Yahweh. I mean, the same thing. Right. But priest sucks. Oh, you always be talking about them rules. Y'all got to dress a certain way. Right.
Amen.
But when they found one dead there, and Yahweh had socked they one of yours. No, that ain't one of mine, Yahweh. That's not one of mine. I told them. That might be one of those goats. That's not one of mine. I told them, don't come up here like that. I told them. That was their own decision. They decided they were gonna be a goat. That's not one of mine. Cause understand, I only get held responsible for whether or not I told you. I'm not held responsible by what you decide to do after you've known. That's not my job. It's not my job to make you do something. You misunderstand my job. It's not my job. I will be held by what I allow you to do up here, though. But what you doing when you go home, that ain't none of my business. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 24. But see, if you can get you a priest out of your own heart, then they'll tell you it don't matter. Why you think we wanted the priest of the least? So we can do what we wanted to do. You know how confusing it had to be for Yahweh, for Moshe to hear Yahweh say, I have chosen you. I'm going to send you to these people. You're going to go to my people, and you're going to tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And then in the next breath, the angel tried to kill him because he didn't have the kids circumcised. You have any idea how confusing that has to be? That you done gave me all these miraculous things, and then you try to kill me right after that? But he's forcing holiness on him. Hey, look, I know this has been okay the whole time, but we about to go on another level here. We're not going to pass this tree until you get those kids circumcised. So you can either circumcise. There's going to be some blood on this rock. You understand what I'm saying to you? Let me make a little bit more plain to you. I'm telling you that there's going to be some blood on this rock. Now, whose blood it is up to you. Now, it can be the blood of the foreskin of them little boys, or it can be the blood when I cut you open. Now, whose blood going to be on this rock? Circumcision, please. There you go. Good choice, my son. Good choice. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Also the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, I take away from you the desire of your eyes with a stroke. Yet neither shall you mourn nor weep, neither shall your tears run down.
All right. So Yahweh leads you to the most difficult things. And look here, man, your wife gonna die. But look here, man, don't cry. Go ahead.
Forbear to cry, make no mourning for the dead. Bind the tire of your head upon you.
Pause. Bind it. You see this right here? This is wrapped around. Bind the tire of your head. Hey, don't mourn while you got my glory on you. See, now he's setting forth something. You need to understand the difference in the head coverings. No. You got a covering of honor on you. Amen. Don't dishonor what's there by going into your mourning. Go ahead.
And put on your shoes upon your feet. And cover not your lips. And eat not the bread of men.
Now listen, he's going through these things. Why? Because these are the things that people end up doing in the middle of their mourning. He says, put the shoes upon your feet. What? You're going to read that some of them in the middle of their mourning, what do? They take their shoes off. Cover their whole head. He said, cover not your lips. They got their whole face covered. But it makes sense. Most time a man is crying, he don't want you to see his face. A man cry, he put a hand over his eye. He said, look at you're going to have to do your mourning somewhere. You can't do that with my glory on you. Go ahead.
So I spake unto the people in the morning, and at even my wife died. And I did in the morning as I was commanded. And the people said unto me, will you not tell us what these things are to us, that you doeth so? Then I answered them, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus says the Adonai Yah, behold, I'll profane my sanctuary, the excellency of your strength, the desire of your eyes, and that which your soul pities. And your sons and your daughters whom you have left shall fall by the sword. And you shall do as I have done. Yea, you shall not cover your lips, nor eat the bread of men. And your tires shall be upon your head.
You shall not remove your head covering. Now wait a minute. Who asked him this?
The people, Israel.
Okay. So all right, let's go a little slower. So the people asked him what he was doing. Now he's Yahweh's servant. But the people are asking him. And he telling the people to bind the tire on your head. Interesting. You shall not mourn. You ain't going to take off this covering and put on that covering of mourning. You shall not. Go ahead.
And your tires shall be upon your heads, and your shoes upon your feet. You shall not mourn nor weep, but you shall pine away for your lawlessness and mourn one toward another.
So then, their heads was covered too. Interesting. Go ahead.
Thus Ezekiel is unto you a sign, according to all that he has done shall you do. And when this comes, you shall know that I am the Adonai Yah.
You shall know that I am the Adonai Yahweh. All right. So then head wraps are a vital part of many cultures, especially in parts of the African region. Head wraps traditional attire is known or called different names depending on the specific area. For instance, the Yorubas in Nigeria call their folded wraps geles. On the other hand, the Ghanaians refer to head wrap as dukas, while the Namibians and South Africans often call their head wraps doek. However, it is essential to know that the head wraps, which are known to be called by many names in various African countries, do mean many things when worn. When styled, it could represent a show of marital status, mourning, wealth, ethnicity, and several other things. In Ezekiel 24, it is written that the priest shall not mar the honor of their covering by mourning for the dead. When we look deeper into this, it becomes apparent that Yahweh is not allowing honor to be merged with dishonor, just as day is not mixed with night. Let's go to Mark chapter 2. So Yahweh decides when he's going to open your eyes and bring you on another level. To some of us, coming out of Christendom was quite difficult. But that was him bringing us on another level then. You were seeking then. You think it ain't people that's still in there seeking? They just ain't hit that level yet. Mark chapter 2, and I want to read verses 18 through 20.
And the disciples of Johanan and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they come and say unto him, Why do the disciples of Johanan and of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples fast not?
Uh-huh.
And Yahshua said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them?
Uh-huh.
As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast.
Listen to that. They have the honor of Yahshua. They can't fast while he's there. You can't mix honor with dishonor. They have to wait till he leaves. Then they can fast. They can't fast in his presence. He said, no. When you put this on, then you doing this. Now you can go put on that regular stuff. And then you go and do that. But remember, you got a job. You can't do all the same thing that people do. Understand the difference. Did you finish that?
But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast.
Then shall they fast. There's certain things that you're not going to be able to do in the presence of something holy. Go to the next graphic, and I want you to read that note there.
Exodus chapter 26 and verse 33 says, And you shall hang up the veil under the thatches, that you may bring in thither within the veil the ark of the testimony. And the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy. This signifies that there is a covering of separation between the holy and the most holy.
There is a covering of separation between the holy and the most holy. But then there's also a covering of separation between other things as well. Let's go to Luke chapter 11. You know, we always say those things about, when you're reading something, you have to ask who's talking and who are they talking to. So when you get down into the things said about you shall not remove the tire upon your head, who is he talking to?
Israel.
All right. So when Saul is in Corinth, which is in Greece, and he says, do not pray with your head covered, who he talking to?
Gentiles.
Okay. He's talking to Gentile. Make sure you understand that. Luke chapter 11, let's go 1 through 4.
And it came to pass that, as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Adne, teach us to pray, as Johanan also taught his disciples. And he said unto them, when you pray, say, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven, so in earth. Give us this day by day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, for we also forgive everyone that is indebted to us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
All right. So then he gives us this blueprint, if you will, for the prayer. Go to the next graphic, and I want you to read the words on that graphic right there.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head.
You ever wonder why Yahshua went through the whole thing of teaching them how to pray, and he didn't mention anything about head covering? The question was directly about prayer. Why did he not go into that? So when Yahshua's talking, who is he talking to?
Greece.
When Saul is talking, who is he talking to?
Gentiles.
Okay. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Who asked the question, teach us how to pray?
Priests.
Priests. Right. Now we cooking with gas. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 14. Jeremiah 14, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Verse 1. The word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah concerning the dearth. Yehuda mourns, and the gates thereof languish. They are black onto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. And their nobles have sent their little ones to the waters. They came to the pits and found no water. They returned with their vessels empty. They were ashamed and confounded and covered their heads.
Okay. What kind of covering this is?
Mourning.
See, when nobody establishes the difference, you're going to start mixing these together without understanding what this is. That's a different covering. And I don't know why that was ever so confusing to us. A football helmet is different from a baseball helmet. Somebody ain't got a helmet. Go ahead.
Because the ground is chapped, for there was no rain in the earth. The plowmen were ashamed. They covered their heads.
Yeah. So now we got mourning, and now we got ashamed. What is that shame they covering so much as their face? Remember, one said, cover not your lips. Why are you covering your lips? Wait a minute. Wait, okay, let's get to something. When Judah went in there and he didn't know who Tamar was, Tamar didn't have a head covering. She had a face covering. Right. So once she covered her face, now she's a whore. She covered her head, she's a queen. Wait a minute. So crown up, hold down. I didn't write it. Go ahead.
Yea, the hind also calved in the field and forsook it, because there was no grass. And the wild asses did stand in the high places. They snuffed up the wind like dragons. Their eyes did fail, because there was no grass. O Yahweh, though our lawlessness testify against us, do you it for your name's sake. For our backslidings are many. We have sinned against you. O the hope of Israel, the Savior thereof in time of trouble. Why should you be a stranger in the land, and as a wayfaring man that turns aside to tarry for a night? Why should you be as a man astonished, as a mighty man that cannot save? Yet you, O Yahweh, art in the midst of us, and we are called by your name. Leave us not. Thus says Yahweh unto this people. Thus have they loved to wander. They have not refrained their feet. Therefore, Yahweh does not accept them.
Right. We move from doctrine to doctrine. Somebody say something that we like, we go over there. Somebody else say something we like, we go over there. Right. Wandering stars. Go ahead.
He will now remember their lawlessness and visit their sins. Then said Yahweh unto me, Pray not for this people, for their good. When they fast, I will not hear their cry. And when they offer burnt offering and an oblation, I will not accept them.
Why? Because this is what they earned. See, those previous actions have now got them into the place where now you're gonna have to work your way through this. Take them prayers and take them outside, put in that track in. I'm not hearing none of that. And don't you pray to me for them. See, I have a tendency to hear you, so I'm gonna warn you now. I'm telling you, don't you pray to me about these people. I hear you by accident, we're going to have some problems. Because remember now, children of Israel asked for a king. He was not wanting to give them a king. But because of who Israel is, Israel kept asking, and Yahweh gave. So he said, look here, you got to understand, when you have Yahweh's ear, you might want to be careful what it is you say. Say not to the angel, it was a mistake, I take it back. No. You asked for me. Well, I didn't see at that time. No. I don't want to hear no at that time. I don't want to hear no at that. Did you not ask me? Well, see, what had happened was, now, you asked me. You should have got all your ducks in a row before you came and asked me. Okay. Go ahead.
But I'll consume them by the sword and by the famine and by the pestilence.
All right, brother. You finished that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll read the next note. Go to the next graphic.
2 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 30. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet and wept as he went up and had his head covered. And he went barefoot.
Remember the thing he said? Keep your shoes on your feet. All right. This morning, he's mourning. His head is covered. He's barefoot. He's crying because of some things that he is going through. Go ahead.
And all the people that was with him covered every man his head. And they went up weeping as they went up.
They went up weeping as they went up. This is mourning. This is the very thing that the reason why they could not fast while Yahshua was with them. You're going to dishonor your head. You got a covering right here. You can't fast while Yahshua here. You got to wait till he leave. Go to the next graphic.
2 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 4. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son.
Now, he's weeping for the death of his son. This is not the same kind of covering. You have to understand the difference. Because if you don't, you're going to let somebody throw one sentence at you and change your entire makeup. And they don't know no more than that one sentence. Let me tell you something. That's all they know. Let that conversation go on 4 more minutes and you're going to find out you're a guru. See, some of y'all stop the conversation too quick. All they know is that one sentence. But you got to go long enough to find out, oh, it is. I thought you was armed and ready for battle. All them toy guns in your truck. Them toys, them water guns. You ain't got no ammo. But he looked like he was ready. He wasn't ready. He gonna throw that one line at you and hope he fall. Let's go to Esther chapter 6. That's the one thing that you will find throughout a lot of other places. They may change their clothing, but they have a real problem with dealing with their head covering. A real problem. But it's interesting how all the people who are pretending to be the authority don't have that problem. You don't see no Catholic priest without a head covering. You don't see the Ish priest without a head covering. So who led the charge to convince us? You have to wonder, when somebody might march with you and tell you, yeah, desegregation is good, while they bought everything in their neighborhood, but they told you to diversify and get out of your neighborhood. So they led you to do something that they were never planning on doing by themselves. So you have to wonder, who's leading the charge to make sure that we are uncovered while they do something different? That's interesting. Esther chapter 6, and let's read verses 1 through 12.
On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king.
You see, sometimes things happen to you, and you don't know that this is direction. On that night could not the king sleep. Now he could have did a whole lot of things. Now sometimes now we can't sleep. But hey, look at it. Hey, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? So we on something different. On that night, he can't sleep. Open the records. Let me read. Go ahead.
And it was found written that Mordecai had told Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, "What honor and dignity has been done to Mordecai for this?" Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, "There's nothing done for him."
Now, sometimes you have to wait on your honor because it needs to be coincided with some other dishonor. Okay, at this point, there's some people who absolutely hate Mordecai and want to do something horrible. He has not been honored for the good that he's done in the past. Our problem, sometimes when we do good on Tuesday, we want that payment come noon Wednesday. The problem is that payment might be held off because there's something else coming your way, and this thing is what's going to save you. Keep reading.
And the king said, "Who is in the court?" Now Naaman was come into the outward court of the king's house, to speak unto the king, to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
He prepared the gallows to hang this man. But now, a past thing. So Yahweh woke him up so he can go and read that. See, just because the book didn't say, Yahweh woke me up. Hey, he don't serve Yahweh. Yeah, on that night the king couldn't sleep. Yeah, bring me the book. Let me just read the records. Normally when I read, I get sleepy. So let me just read. Okay. Go ahead.
And the king's servant said unto him, "Behold, Haman stands in the court." And the king said, "Let him come in." So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, "What shall be done unto the man whom the king delights to honor?" Now Haman thought in his heart, "To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?"
Who would he be talking about? I mean, of course he talking about me. He talking about me. See, this is how Yahweh will call somebody to bless their enemy. Because at this point, his arrogance is on swole. He figured this has got to be, he got to be talking about me. So now he says all these great things, right? But he's really talking for himself. Go ahead.
And Haman answered the king, "For the man whom the king delights to honor, let the royal apparel be brought, which the king uses to wear."
He already done sized himself up. He see himself in this royal attire. Speak on. Go ahead.
"And the horse that the king rides upon."
Let me get in your car. Go ahead.
and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
Let me get your covering, your head covering. Put that on too. Because a crown is also a head covering. Go ahead.
And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes.
Oh, yeah. Get the most noble to deliver it to him. Go ahead.
That they may array the man withal, whom the king delights to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city.
Oh, my goodness. Bring him on horseback. Let everybody see him. The whole time he said, let everybody see me. I mean him. Go ahead.
And proclaim before him.
Oh, my
Thus
goodness.
shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor.
Oh, yeah, man. Make a big show, man. Go do your thing, king. Do the king thing. Go ahead.
Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as you have said, and do even so to Mordecai the Yehudim.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. The dude I'm trying to kill. The dude I done built gallows to hang. I thought you were talking about me, king. I didn't know you talking about my enemy. See, this is how you fool you and make you bless your enemy while you think you doing something. See, this is why you can't answer everybody's stuff. You got to learn how to sit down. You can't do Yahweh's job. Stop trying to do his job. He know how to do his job. Go ahead.
That sits at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that you have spoken. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai.
Oh, you know this is burning him, right? You know this is burning. And he's the one who made himself go. He said, send your most noble prince. Well, that's you. That's you. Well, most noble. Now go and array the individual that you've been talking bad about. Go and dress him. Go and give to him this fine chariot. Go array him in power. You go do it. Most noble prince. Go ahead.
And brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delights to honor.
Now, wait a minute. Now he making him publicly do this. Because this is what he said should be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. The problem is he's also been talking to people about killing the man. So imagine the confusion of the people as he come through the street. Hey, dog, come here. Hey, bro. Ain't that the dude that was talking about hanging the dude, but he's singing about the dude? Yep. Give me another drink. It's just something that's definitely going strange right now. That's a strange thing. He got him proclaiming this through the streets. Go ahead.
And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his own house mourning, and having his head covered.
Oh, look at that baby. That baby feeling her. That baby covered her face. Yes, she did. Right. But see, this is how Yahweh take care of some business there. Go to Esther chapter 9. And I want you to read verses 20 through 25.
And Mordecai wrote these things, and sent letters on to all the Yehudims that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both near and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
Right. And people always ask, why don't y'all keep these? Because Yahweh didn't say keep it. You go out on the internet, everybody talking about Purim, it give them a time to go and fight against their enemies. Look, I don't need no extra days to fight against no enemy. When Yahweh, our Elohim, said it's time, and he going to turn that switch on, and all the stuff that we lost, he going to give it back. We keep trying to get something, and you think he got to give you something. No. Everything that we need, he already gave it to us. You just lost access to it. He turned it off in your brain. How else do you make somebody go from living 900 years and all of a sudden they drop down to 120, then after that, hey, if you after 70, you're living on grace. How you do that? You program the computer to shut down. You ever wonder why they sell you a warranty at Best Buy right at the point that it gonna die 2 days after the warranty ends. You ever notice? How is that? Because it's programmed to stop working after a certain time. Once he's setting that up, all we got to get is a firmware update. I can't wait for my firmware update. He ain't got to give you no new leg. It's not like, okay, your body gonna wear out these other things. Let me tell you something. When he flipped that switch, see, we lost access to that switch. You have to understand, first of all, what drugs do. Drugs mimic what Yahweh already have in you. Do you know what the power of adrenaline does? Adrenaline will cause you to get hit by a truck and stand right back up. Imagine if Yahweh gives you an unlimited supply of it. Imagine if he flips a switch and gives you unlimited supply of adrenaline. Bam, something comes. Snatch your leg and turn it the other way. You grab the leg, turn it back, and start back walking. We keep thinking that he's got to do all of these miraculous things. No, you already got it. You working to get access to it again. We're not getting that new. He had already given us that land. You working to get access to what he already gave you. See, what happened is we didn't appreciate what he gave us. Now you got to work for what was already yours. But how else do you show a child and make them learn how to appreciate something? When a child has had something all their life, it has no value. It don't mean nothing. It just always is there. Sometimes you got to take it from them. Make them work for it. Then when they get it back, thank you, Daddy. Because not only did we resent it, we resented him. Go ahead, brother.
As the days wherein the Yehudims rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
So they done made a Hebrew Christmas. Right? And they want to know, why don't y'all celebrate it? Man, get that out of here. I'm fine with reading about them. I'm fine. No, thank you. Go ahead.
And the Yehudims undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Yehudims, had devised against the Yehudims to destroy them, and had cast pure, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them.
Oh, because he wasn't just going to destroy Mordecai by himself. He wanted to destroy Mordecai and all his people. Go ahead.
But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Yehudims, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
Right. So that which he devised for one man has now entered into his whole house. All right, let's go to Numbers chapter 23. See, we talk about, a lot of times you'll hear brothers praying and they'll go and we'll mention about the hedge of protection. What do you think a hedge is? It's a covering. And when Yahweh has placed a covering on you, let me tell you something. You got to do a little something to get that covering removed. But if you work hard, you can sure do it. Numbers chapter 23. Let's start that at verse 1.
And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by the burnt offering, and I'll go. Peradventure Yahweh will come to meet me, and whatsoever he shows me, I will tell you. And he went to an high place. And Elohim met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And Yahweh put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, Return unto Balak, and thus you shall speak. And he returned unto him, and, lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, Come, curse me, Jacob, and come, defy Israel. How shall I curse whom Elohim has not cursed?
How shall I curse whom Elohim have not cursed? See, when you got a covering, other people don't get to remove it. Go ahead.
Or how shall I defy whom Yahweh has not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. And Balak said unto Balaam, What have you done unto me? I took you to curse mine enemies, and behold, you have blessed them altogether. And he answered and said, Must I not take heed to speak that which Yahweh has put in my mouth?
Right. See, one thing that my mama always told me growing up, whenever you dig a hole for somebody, make sure you dig two. One of them is for them, and the other one for you. So he's upset that he's gone to try and get these people cursed, and he done got the people blessed. Go ahead.
And Balak said unto him, Come, I pray you, with me unto another place, from whence you may see them. You shall see but the utmost part of them, and shall not see them all, and curse me them from thence. And he brought him into the field
Now, you got to look at that. Now, come look at them from another place. Now, what is he saying? Look, I need you to look at these people from a different angle. So, in other words, I need to show you them in a bad light. So what does anybody do who wants to curse you? They need to display you in a bad light. Come and look at them this way. Look at them this way. I already saw them. Now see them like this. See, then you see the bad that I see, and you'll curse them. Go ahead.
And he brought him into the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And he said unto Balak, Stand here by the burnt offering, while I meet with Yahweh yonder. And Yahweh met Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, Go again unto Balak, and say thus. And when he came to him, behold, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said unto him, What has Yahweh spoken? And he took up his parable, and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear. Hearken unto me, you son of Zippor.
Now, understand something now. He's not by himself. Verse 17. And when he came in, behold, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. Go ahead.
Elohim is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Has he said, and shall he not do it? Or has he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I've received commandment to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it.
Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He got a covering on, bro. I can't do nothing with that. He got a covering on him. Jacob has a covering on him. I can't do nothing with that. You can come to me all these different ways. Go ahead.
He has not beheld lawlessness in Jacob, neither has he seen perverseness in Israel.
No matter how you try to get him to look at him. Go ahead.
Yahweh his Elohim is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. Elohim brought them out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, What has Elohim wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink the blood of the slain. And Balak said unto Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all.
Now they want to take away the blessing. Never should have tried to curse. Now you got a bigger problem. Go ahead.
But Balaam answered and said unto Balak, told not I you, saying, all that Yahweh speaks, that I must do?
Right. Didn't I tell you from the beginning that whatever Yahweh say, that's how I'm moving? Ain't no need of trying to renegotiate it. However he direct me, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to ask because that's what you asking me to do. But be prepared for the answer. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5. See, there's the covering natural, and then there's the covering spiritual. Isaiah chapter 5. And I want you to read verses 1 through 7.
Now will I sing to my beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved has a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes.
Wait a minute. It brought forth wild grapes. Now, he set this vineyard. He did everything that he needed to do with this vineyard. He prepared everything that needed to be prepared. It lacks nothing. But the grapes were wild. See, the grapes don't want to follow the order. Go ahead.
And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judea, judge, I pray you, between me and my vineyard.
Wait a minute. Judge between me and my vineyard. Go ahead.
What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it?
I gave it everything. I prepared it. I made sure it had the right upbringing. I did everything that I was supposed to do in my vineyard. Tell me what else I could have done. Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes.
It had everything that it needed, but it said, I want to do what I want to do. Go ahead.
And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do to my vineyard. Now, first, I'm going to ask you, what could I have done? Right? Now, I'm about to tell you what I'm going to do. Go ahead.
I'll take away the hedge thereof.
Wait a minute. Now, I'm going to remove the covering. Why does he start there? Because to do any of the other things after it, he first must remove the covering. Before he puts a curse on the woman, when the man brings his wife for a thing of jealousy, the first thing he does, remove her hair covering. The first thing that he gonna do in his vineyard is he removing the hedge. He taking away the covering. Go ahead.
And it shall be eaten up.
Wait a minute. That could not have happened until he removed the hedge. He had to remove the hedge first. Once he removed the covering, now all these things can happen to it. Go ahead.
And break down the wall thereof. And it shall be trodden down. And I'll lay it waste. It shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Israel.
Wait a minute. His vineyard is Israel. He says, I'm going to take away the covering. See, at the end of the day, when Yahweh wants to remove the covering, he's the only one who can remove that covering. But if you decide you're going to take your covering off, then you open the hedge. Now, anything that goes through there, you can't blame Yahweh for that. Go ahead.
And the men of Yehuda his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, For righteousness, behold a cry. But
Right.
behold a cry.
And we have to decide if we're going to be the pleasant plant of Yahweh. See? We have to decide if we're going to be the grapes that he planted, or we're going to be those wild grapes. Now, let's back up and go to Isaiah chapter 3. Because we need to get a little bit more understanding on this removing the hedge. See? What it look like? Isaiah chapter 3, let's start at verse 1.
For behold, the Adonai, Yahweh of hosts, does take away from Jerusalem and from Yehuda the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man and the counselor and the cunning artificer and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them.
Babes gonna rule over them. In our situation, that's the women. Majority of our household ran by the women. So then the children are being reared up, not with any kind of male figure around. So then now everything is extra sensitive. You have boys that can't take a man saying to them, hey man, put that down, boy. Why? Because they ain't never had a man do it. Because a woman always did it. So then they get a job and they think, this person being mean and disrespectful to me. No, he's being a man. That's a man. That's he's talking to you like a man, and he made the assumption because you went in the man's bathroom that you was a man too. So then he talked to you like a man, and now you got a problem because you felt extra sensitive. Because you used to having, you understand, your mama sing to you all the time, baby, baby. Ain't no man gonna talk to you like that. Matter of fact, if he does, then something's wrong with both of y'all. Go ahead.
And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, you have clothing, be you our ruler, and let this ruin be under your hand. In that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be an healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Yehuda is fallen, because their tongue and their doing are against Yahweh, to provoke the eyes of his glory.
When it says stuff like this, that their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh, we take that and we look at that in one broad spectrum as far as, okay, this person did something against Yahweh. No. Yahweh commands men to do a job. We then have a problem with the man doing the job, but don't understand that it's Yahweh who we have a problem with. So when he says their doings and their tongues are against Yahweh, people will say, well, where did I speak against you? Oh, when I sent that dude and you tried to fight everything that he was doing. You didn't understand? Did you think I was going to come personally and build a vineyard? Did you think I was going to plant the grapes myself? Did you think that I was going to get the little garden tool and dig in I'm an owner of vineyard. Did you think I was going to plant it? But when I sent somebody to go in there and do it, you fought them. So in other words, you fought me. You know how many people ain't figured that out yet? When Ananias and Sapphira came and lied about the land, brother said, man, you've not lied unto me. You lied unto Elohim. And it's not that person was some great one. No, that person stood in an Elohim stead doing a job. That's who you lied to. That's who you saw. But because he was standing in representation of Yahweh, at that moment, not that this person may be standing in Yahweh's stead 24/7. They were standing in Yahweh's stead to do that job at that minute. That's when you lied. You lie to Elohim. You ain't lie to that man. Yahweh just gave that man enough gifts to know that ain't the truth. Go ahead.
The show of their countenance does witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say you to the righteous, that it shall be well with them, with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead you cause you to err, and destroy the way of your path.
Right. As for my people, children are their oppressors. The children get to tell them what to do. See, we in the generation where the mamas come and ask the kids what they want to eat. You know what you ate? What my grandmama cooked? Whatever the hell came out that kitchen. That's what you got the taste for. You know what I got the taste for? Let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? They would. I realized that the taste can be acquired. So you tell your grandmama, I got the taste for it, and she, pow! You know what? I just got the taste for whatever that is in the kitchen. You damn right you did. But no, we're in a generation, folk can't even figure out what to cook because they got to take a poll to see what the kids want. Back in our days, if you ask them the wrong, you're going to get a poll, all right. But it's going to be that one that's holding up the fence. Who you talking to, boy? You finna eat what come out this kitchen. Now, if you decide you don't want that, hunger shall it be. Tomorrow it might taste better. But you're not eating nothing until, though. You understand? You don't get no substitutes. See, this is a different kind of thing, and we have, especially because of how slavery has done us, we have been reared up backwards. Well, Yahweh getting ready to turn all those things around. And let me tell you something. It's going to shake up the fabric of what we think we're accustomed to. Go ahead.
Yahweh stands up to plead and stands to judge the people. Yahweh will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people and the princes thereof. For you have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean you that you beat my people to pieces and grind the faces of the poor? Says the Adonai Yahweh of hosts. Moreover, Yahweh says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanting eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet, therefore the Adonai will smite with the scab the crown of their head.
Wait a minute, why you start right there?
Covering.
Okay. Now understand. People said, well, wait a minute, you know, you talking about the covering, wait a minute. He's going to get the head of the woman in two ways. See, when he deal with her covering and he snatch it off, that's one thing. But she was also covered by her husband. When he take him, he done took two covering from her. And we so twisted, you got folk out there standing in the street, I don't need no man. Okay. Yeah, just give it a little bit long here. All right, we're going to see. Yahweh said, I'm going to make a man more precious than gold. All right, go ahead.
Therefore the Adonai will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. And Yahweh will discover their secret parts. In that day the Adonai will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cowls, and their round tires like the moon.
Well, I'm sorry. Say that part, the what? Like the moon?
Round tires like the moon.
Okay. Once again, I need you to connect something here. Part of the curse and the judgment is to not have your head covered. This is judgment. As he's rendering judgment, he's taking the covering. So somebody is trying to convince you to remove it. What exactly are they really trying to convince you to do? See, there's the slavery that had chains. And then there's the slavery that's in your brain. There's the fence that keep the dog in. And then there's the electronic fence that shocks the crap out of the dog. But when the dog don't know, when the power go out, the dog still won't go past that yellow line. Because now, mentally, he's broken. Anywhere you show him a yellow line, he gonna stop. Because he remember the shocks. But the power ain't on. We don't have the ability to get shocked. But the program is already set. So Yahweh, when Yahweh removes your covering, you are about to receive some judgment. He didn't get ready to deal with the woman. He first removed the covering. Here it is. This woman, by the way, is Israel as a whole. Don't just make this about the females of Israel. This is all of us. He's dealing with a whole nation right here. But before you can receive judgment, he's got to take your covering. You ever wonder why? Why, if the devil is so bad, why don't he just kill him? What do y'all think we're waiting for all this time? He's got to take his covering. They say, is this the man that did all of this? He can't just punish him like that. He's got to take his covering first. And you don't let somebody convince you to take yours off. Boy, good God Almighty. Go ahead, Priest.
I was just laughing at the fact, and what was Lucifer? A covering cherub.
Ironic, ain't it? Go ahead.
The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins.
Oh, all these things that bring forth pride, because most of the problem that we have is connected to some kind of pride. He said, you know what? I'm going to take all of these things that puff you up against me because they have somehow made leaven in your heart. Give me all that leaven. Now let's see if we can really then have a conversation. Now let's see if we can reason together. Because it seems like to me you got too much stuff. So let's remove some of this stuff and then maybe we'll be able to see eye to eye. Go ahead.
The glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and a burning instead of beauty. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
Right. So even in dealing with all of that, it's Yahweh that has the power to change that covering. Now that covering becomes a covering of dishonor. Go to the next graphic, and I want you to read that for me.
Galatians chapter 3 and verse 13. Yahshua has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangs on a tree.
Cursed is everyone that hangs on a tree. When you deal with that, this is one of the things that our people have had to deal with as an ongoing punishment. But before any punishment could come forward, the first thing that happened was the covering was removed. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 27. Because see, when we deal with the adversary, the devil now, he understands this book more than any of us. So as he battles with Yahshua, he's dealing with some serious biblical principles that other people might not be aware of. Matthew chapter 27, and start that at 27.
Then the soldiers of the governor took Yahshua into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. And they stripped him and put on him a scarlet robe. And when they had plaited a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head.
So now they're going to defile the head covering. They're going to defile it. They say, okay, yeah, you supposed to be a king, so we're gonna give you a crown of thorns. Go ahead.
And a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Yehudis. And they spit upon him and took the reed and smote him on the head.
All right, everybody felt justified. They're doing what they got to do. Go ahead.
And after that, they had mocked him. They took the robe off from him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him.
All right. So all of this has gone down. They have defiled his covering. They gives him a crown of thorns and mock him. So all of this is to mock him as king. Now let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Revelations chapter 19. Because see, at this point, his power has been removed. And he gave it up so that he could be atonement for his people. Revelation 19, let's start that at verse 11.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he does judge and make war.
Right. See, most of the times you find people, they don't understand what Yahshua's second coming is all about. See, they're getting ready for a love fest. But remember them crown of thorns? Oh, you going to pay for that? Go ahead.
His eyes were as a flame of fire. And on his head were many crowns.
I'm sorry, on his head was many crowns. He ain't just got one head cover. So all them nations that took part in dealing with his people about to get dealt with. Go ahead.
And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword.
Out of his mouth goes the same, goes a sharp sword, the same word that cuts y'all every time. But you'd be better off to let the sword cut you than to let the sword go through you. See, all those that don't get cut now shall get thrust through later. Go ahead.
That with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of El Shaddai. And he has on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Adonais of Adonais.
Let it be done as it is written. Yahweh is going to take care of the business that he has set forth here on earth. And let us do all of the things that we're supposed to do to prepare for that great and mighty day. That's all that we're going to do. Let us remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.